Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. I'm not too sure if you guys see what's going on right now with /CL. Just so you guys can see, I have no open positions. I have not traded during pre-market hours. Let's go ahead and go to current trades /CL. Huge push up. Overall, I did not expect this thing to push up as quick as it did. But hey, let's go ahead and let's see if this is this the live chat? Is everyone tuning in right now? Let me double check. Are we all good here? Okay, and there it goes, beginning to pull back. So overall, /CL is a descending pattern right now, getting rejected by the middle VWAP and the overall SMA line, and aggressively sold off. It tried to push up, aggressively sold off, built a support, consolidated, and then began to push up. So now if this thing begins to get rejected, then that is in favor of DWT, right? Which means that it can then begin to push up back to around this general area. So I have /CL on my right-hand screen. All right, let's see. I wanted to give it a little bit more time. The MACD is not really reversing. Guys, I got my little protein shake. It's going to be a good day. Ew, it doesn't taste very good. What's going on, Fazian? What's up? Here we go. Looks like we might be getting rejected. We're not really making lower lows on /CL just yet. And again, that's something that I'm going to pay very close attention to. The overall direction can change. Right now it is selling off. It is getting rejected by that middle VWAP. But you know, it can continue to uptrend, and it aggressively pushed up right now. So that's, you know, pretty interesting, right? But looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, we can see that /CL is not the best deal. I'm going to go ahead and go in with a portion. Whoa, Rick, come on. Let's see. Where's my level 2 at? Here we go. There it goes, still pushing up. Whoa, come on. Let's see what's going on here. We got T, it just broke below 32.29. Okay. There it goes. I got filled with a 25% position size, right? 25%. And here is /CL. /CL back at previous highs. Again, yes, it can get rejected based off previous patterns. It would make sense on why it would. And there it goes. It's pushing up. You know, just patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. I'm going to have my position size ready, or my order ready to potentially, you know, have to cut losses on. And again, it's a very small position in terms of, like, you know, the overall trade, right? So yeah, I'm just going to have it ready, right? I'd rather manage my risk accordingly. And here we go. This is what I'm going to look for. Yes, it can play around this general area. I just don't want it to begin to make higher highs. And if it does, I'll have to cut losses, right? And then just give it time for it to fully sell off. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for. Again, it has pushed up above this middle VWAP area and this SMA line, but it didn't necessarily make higher highs. So that is what I'm looking for. If I see a break of pattern and then it begins to make higher highs, that is not the original pattern I saw valid. And there we go. We're right back to where I bought at. But I'm going to be very, very careful on this one. I felt like I did a good job getting in for an entry. Just my first position, right? That made sense, right? I waited for this thing to become overbought. I got in. I didn't get in at the best or lowest price point, but I got in at a decent price point. So right now, I should be up. And now I'm just going to wait for this thing to break above the EMA line. And now this is where I focus, right? This is where I focus on getting in when there's higher highs that are forming on the actual position that I'm trading on. So sold DWT, natural gas with a huge push. I like it. Let's see. Okay, not bad. Great eye, Nabil. Looks like it became a little bit more on the overbought side, a little bit more on the overextended, right? So yeah, definitely makes sense. Something to look out for on why this thing can begin to pull back. So again, when this doesn't look like such a good deal anymore, then I 100% see that. Here we go. Come on, Rick. All right. Not bad. Okay, so now I'm just gonna have my order ready. So just so you guys can see what it is that I'm looking at, /CL pushed up, became overextended, began to pull back. We're right around this EMA line, and now what I'm waiting for is lower lows to form, right? This thing to break below. I actually thought I saw it on this screen. It just broke below it, not really lower lows. But yeah, how are we all? Does it make sense for all those that are tuning in right now? Does it make sense on, do you understand the pattern that I saw on /CL, right? Does it make sense on why I took my first position size? Obviously, there's a form of risk involved still by taking a position size before the confirmation, and I explained that. Does it make sense on why I added more to my position size, and does it make sense why I'm still holding? What I'm looking for, this is where I want you to ask your questions. I'm waiting for /CL to approach this general area. It doesn't have to hit it. Again, it could bounce here for all we know, right? It doesn't have to hit it, but the MACD looks good. The RSI looks decent. And I'm waiting for this to sell off back to around this 56, right, area. And as this thing does, and if it sells off, then I'll lock in profits here on DWT as it approaches previous supports. Make sense? I like that. Super happy to hear that, Kyle. Okay, you didn't get it first, but now you do. Okay, and again, if you have any questions about this, you guys can, if you don't feel comfortable, again, I would prefer for you to ask me within this live stream. It's much more efficient, right? Back and forth for me to answer any questions. But ultimately, I understand and I'll respect, if you want to just message me over direct message, just keep it short, under 150 characters, get straight to the point, and I'd be more than happy to answer any question for you. So it looks like it's still kind of consolidating around this general area, right? There's no other easy way for me to put it. It's kind of just holding here. Yeah, /CL being get rejected by the EMA line. It's still honestly not really making lower lows yet. It's still around that. I guess it kind of did, but not continuous lower lows, right? So what do you do when stocks consolidate? I want to talk about that. Well, give me one quick second because I might have to. Let's see what's going on here. So let me ask you guys this. What do you guys do when stocks begin to consolidate, right? Does that make sense? So it's sold off, right? It consolidates. What do we do? And there it goes. Let's see. All right, it's still pushing up, and it looks like it did find a support right around this EMA line, which is unfortunate, right? Which is not something that I could have like predicted or anything like that. Again, like we've said multiple times before, patterns tend to repeat themselves, but at the end of the day, they don't have to. And this is the whole point of like, managing your risk. There's still not a break-of pattern, right? So it's still not making higher highs or anything like that, but it is not going exactly like I expected to, but that doesn't matter. It's chart, it's trading. It doesn't always have to, but I need to make sure that if there is a break-of pattern, then I cut losses. But right now it's still staying true. It's just taking a little bit more time for it. And yeah, there's no other easier way for me to put that. But to kind of answer that question of what do you do when something consolidates, I like to talk about two forms of consolidation. There's consolidation when something is building a support, just like we see here. 3 stages of a reversal, sell-off, consolidation, and then confirmation. The consolidation is normally what happens before it either continues to sell off or begins to show signs of a reversal. So 2 potential outcomes. Same thing when it builds a resistance. It pushes up, consolidates, which means it just flatlines, and then it could either continue to push up or then begins to sell off. One of the things that I like to remind you, and again, this is me just being super beginner friendly, right, is if something is beginning to consolidate and you're betting on it for it to confirm up, I would always play the defense and be like, okay, well, there's no confirmation just yet, and I'd rather be better safe than sorry. So I'd rather lock in profit, and then once that confirmation does present itself, then I'll get back in. Same thing with something being at a resistance. Let's say you bought in down here, it begins to push up, it begins to consolidate at a resistance. Again, do your part as a trader that your actions speak louder than your hopes or your desires. If you want to continuously stay green, and you're seeing some sign of a resistance, then lock in profit. And again, if it continues to push up, you can always get back in, right? But what's going to be most upsetting is if it begins to consolidate and then it gets rejected, you give back all the profits that you've already made, and then it continues to sell off, and then you go from green to red. All right. So what if you decide to wait for confirmation or confirmation of a reversal? How do you plan to get entry? It's about once you get that confirmation of higher highs. So perfect example can be like this, Austin. Something aggressively sold off, right? You could see that there's a dip buy opportunity. It begins to consolidate, and then it begins to make higher highs. With that higher high confirmation, you are... Once you have that confirmation, you understand that all the action is happening, right? That it's actively uptrending, and it's much easier. It's a much more efficient trade. You're not partaking in the sell-off. You're not partaking in the consolidation. You are partaking when the action is happening, when it's actively pushing up, or vice versa. When this thing was consolidating up here, and then it was actively selling off, right? So if this is actively selling off, then that means that DWT is actively pushing up. So you're taking part of a position when the action is happening, which is much more desirable for me, right? We've talked about it multiple times where sometimes you'll try to get in too early, or you'll get in during the consolidation, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. So ideally, it would be best, for you to get in my experience, when the action is happening. And again, this is why we talk so much about patience. This is why we talk so much about waiting for confirmation, right? Because of how much we value that at. So, yeah. I hope that answers your question. Surge, not necessarily, because it didn't. Are you talking about /CL? Is that what you're talking about? Huge push up on natural gas. Thank you guys again for that call out. Okay. No, because if you look at where this thing was trading at on Friday, it's almost identical to where it's trading at right now. And if you look pretty much all day on Friday, it was selling off, right? So if you go on the 2-day, 5-minute chart, there's been times that there's super aggressive sell-off. So yes, it's bound to reverse from time to time, but it doesn't have to. And that's one of the things that we have to understand is that, nothing has to happen. And I think this is where I made a very common mistake, and I'm just speaking from experience, but when you expect something to happen and you trade off of that, especially when something is showing signs of a very consistent, aggressive descending pattern, and there's a pattern there and it's been consistently selling off for some time, but you think that it's just bound to, like a lot of people are bringing up natural gas right now. Give me 1 second. A lot of people are bringing up natural gas right now and how oversold it is, and that during the winter months it's bound to recover based off previous patterns. Like nothing has to happen, and yes, it makes sense, but it doesn't have to. And I've been caught so many times at the very bottom of something, right? Because I thought that it was super aggressively, oversold. It was bound to reverse, but it just continues to sell off. And then that is when you are put through that roller coaster of emotions, that like just draining, like that feeling that just like drains you. You don't want to do anything else throughout the day, right? And that's kind of what I would try to avoid. And again, I'm just speaking from my experience. If you've never experienced that, then, so be it. But I know that I've been, when I try to, it sucks the life out of you, right? It's just a really poor experience, and it could really discourage you. And I'm, again, here to try my best to share my experiences with you and remind you, what's discouraged me before, right? And hopefully you don't get put in that position where, you feel unwilling to continue, and it's with very little simple concepts, as in waiting for confirmation, waiting for the action to happen. So. Ricky, would you say that your second entry is like a beginner's first entry should be? Yeah, you talking about because that's when it actually had confirmation. So and again, this is I guess there were no true lower lows that formed. But yeah, my first entry is something that I would not encourage anyone that's just getting started to try. I don't try to buy the dip, but I try to get in when there's something for a good deal, right? So when I saw /CL overbought and overextended, that means DWT is oversold. And I found it to be a good deal based off of previous patterns, but there is no confirmation. So I agree that is not a position that I think any beginner should put themselves in if you're under the PDT rule, right? Or if you struggle managing your risk. But the second position, I felt like I did a much better job with that. It just didn't continue to sell off. It was it was below the EMA line when I decided to enter, but unfortunately it just didn't continue to sell off. And that happens. Here we go. It looks like we are going to be potentially changing directions on /CL. So this means that I'm going to have to cut losses here. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more time for it to confirm the break of pattern. And if it does, then I'll cut losses. But again, this is a perfect example of I tried. Again, my first entry was kind of irrelevant. I just got in when I found it to be a good deal. It made sense to me, and that's why I did it. It began to sell off. It was following through with the pattern that we've previously saw. It made lower lows. It broke below the EMA line. I added more to my position size, but then, we had a little bit more margin to go, and it just did not perform the way that I thought it would, right? It didn't sell off back to this, or it didn't even make lower lows or anything like that, which it has been making, or it might just be taking more time for it to, confirm that. But as of right now, it validated the EMA line as a support, and then it tried to sell off again, which I thought was a good sign because we're making lower highs on /CL, which is in favor of higher highs. on higher lows on DWT, but yeah, it just didn't happen. Ricky, how do you avoid over trading? I think that comes much more with self-control. It's like, how do you avoid not cheating on your significant other? I know that's a very extreme example, and I don't mean to talk about something super sensitive, but it literally comes down to self-control. It comes down to how bad you want it and what you value this at. Yeah. How do you not do it? You just don't. You understand and you're in control of what it is that you are doing. I'm sorry for that aggressive. I don't know if that was too aggressive. I do apologize for that. But how do you just not do something? You simply just don't. How do you not commit a crime? You just don't. Right? How do you not and begin to overtrade? Like if I overtrade, and I've had multiple times where I had times where I've talked about myself overtrading. I almost lost control, right? I felt like I was just like, I got too obsessed with what it was that I was doing. I got too caught up in the moment. My emotions got, I just got caught in the moment and I began to overtrade. So how do you not do that? You continuously remind yourself of like, and have self-control of every action that you do. Buying, selling, like, yeah. And it's something that over time will then begin to make more sense. Again, it's like one of the examples that I like to give is when it comes down to, let's say if you were someone that was a hedge fund manager, right? And you manage other people's money. You're a business, right? You're a company that, accepts other people's money, right? To trade for them. And that's your purpose, to grow that account. Would you be as free to open any position just like you are right now? So right now you are, you're only trading for yourself, right? And every buy and every sell, every mistake that you make, every win is just you. But what if you had the pressure of other people's life savings, money that they worked very hard for? Let's say it was your parents that funded also and invested in that, hedge fund. How much more focused would you be in making sure every single trade you take is worth it? Do you get what I'm saying? Because the pressure and the overall severity of like what it is that you are doing is so much more important. That's how I think that you should take this. It's trading because it's so accessible. Anyone can open an account. Anyone can fund their money. It's like opening a Venmo account. You can send money to anyone that you want. But should you? No. When it becomes, and again, if you're like a real entrepreneur, if you're a real business owner, the biggest drawback that I see people go through is the beautiful thing about having a job is that there's structure. There is accountability for what you do and consequences for the mistakes that you make. When it comes down to being an independent day trader, a self-employed business owner, you're the only person that can hold yourself accountable. And unfortunately, people are very undisciplined that they become very free with everything it is that they do. And I think that's where you begin to make a lot of these mistakes where in the normal kind of work environment would not have been made because of the consequences, because of the rules, and because of the structure. So just something to kind of think about how important it is to implement structure in what it is that you do every single day. Let there be consequences, right? Let there be structure and let there be rules. That's the way that, at least for me, that it's worked very well with. Huge push on natural gas. Let's check this out. Gee willikers. Yep. Nice consistent uptrend. No lower low confirmations on that EMA line. So yeah, I do agree. Nice little push. I've always admired your very cautious attitude while still managing risk. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. When do you wake up and start scanning for stocks? I don't really scan for stocks anymore because I have such a micro focus on a lot of the ETFs that I trade. And it's because I found like my niche. I work very well with ETFs, and I used to scan for stocks when I didn't, not that I didn't understand what was going on, but I was kind of a little bit more all over the place, if that makes sense. Now I, really just pay attention to very certain kind of like areas in the market, and I don't necessarily have to. I'm not saying that you don't like have to moving on or moving forward. It's just I don't trade momentum stocks. I don't trade pump and dumps. I don't trade any of that. I focus on, a lot of these ETFs, and it just works well for me. Bum, ba, bum, ba, dum, ba, da, 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 bum, 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 ba, dum. What are your thoughts on an entry on DWT right now? No. I'm in it right now, and I would not encourage anyone else to be in it because we don't have higher high confirmations. And that's kind of the pickle that I'm in right now, right? Yeah, so until we get that confirmation, again, it's just so much easier for once the action is happening. There's no action that's like right now we're not making aggressive like higher highs or aggressive lower lows. There's no action that you're really missing out on, at least right now, right? If this thing begins to aggressively sell off, or if this thing begins to aggressively push up and there's a clear direction, again, that's the thing that I would pay attention to. I thought there was, right? I took part of this position when this was happening. Unfortunately, it got rejected and changed directions. That's inevitable. It's the market. And again, there's not much that I can do about that right now, right? But yeah. So something's up with my, here we go. It looks like we might be forming lower lows. Again, I don't want to, not yet. We're still holding above that 56.2 area. And there it goes. It just broke below that. We should be pushing up, right? Okay. There it goes. Here we go. Okay. Still, like, lower lows are not necessarily forming. Again, I'm in this position, and I don't think it's something that, you're missing out on. We could potentially form a potential resistance here, right? On /CL, a potential support can be formed. So again, it is still, in a sense, it looks like it's almost getting rejected, but not really. And look at the MACD, look at the RSI, potential support can be built here based off of previous lows. It struggled to, break below this general area. So again, the more patient you are, I think the better. And we can kind of go off of that. So I'm just going to close my position here. And I know what some of you guys might be saying. Again, this is a perfect example of what I see there to be like, let's see, 1 second, here we go. So /CL is back at the previous support. Back at the previous support that it was at. There we go. And this is a perfect example of why you lock in profits. Yep, there's nothing that I can do about that. It just is not performing the way that I expect it to. Wow, all right. I just wanted to close it out. I am getting too caught in the. This is pretty much a break even for me. I made $1.60, but with a $3 entry, a $3 exit, and a $3 average up, I lost like $6-7 in commissions. Right? It's just consolidating too much. I have too much invested in it right now. I had about $90,000, 91 or something like that, and it just. There's not a clear direction. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Yes, and there it goes. It's pushing up 701. That's great. There's not a clear enough direction for me to feel comfortable as of right now. And that's why, again, I can always decide to get back in. It's trading right around 701, 702, and that's great. /CL is still selling off. I just had too much in it already to feel comfortable to continue to hold. And I'd rather close out the position than feel regretful if it begins to change direction and then I end up having to cut losses. Again, today's Monday. It's one of my first trades for the day. And there it goes. It looks like forward slash, and there it goes. 702, 703, and that's fine. It sucks. And there it goes. It just actually broke below that support, and it's making lower lows now. So we should see 703 here. So let's see. 703. Yeah. Again, looks like I did sell a little too early. But this is a perfect example also of what's it called? Of this like roller coaster, right? I'm put through this like, okay, it's going my way. It's potentially changing directions. All right, it's going my way. It's potentially changing directions. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I'm put through this roller coaster of emotions that once it actually does begin to confirm its pattern, I'm already over it. There's already so much uncertainty. I feel so uncomfortable with the position that it's like, I'd rather just get out. It's like that risk reward. It's just not there for me. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It was a crappy trade on my part. I was up about $200 or $300 at one point, but again, if I think about like, oh my God, like I could have made $200 or $300, or even if I could have made $400, it doesn't matter because there's a potential change of pattern, potential change of direction. I felt like it could have gone either way. And I know I could make that back in a 10-minute trade within a very short period of time. But what's more important to me is how confident I feel. I did not short anything. I went into the inverse ETF. I went into DWT, which is the inverse ETF of /CL. But this is kind of where I'm at right now. So I think that was a total of 4 trades or 3 orders, right? $1.60. So hopefully I can split that between all of us, right? And we can buy some real good food. Ricky, do you ever get angry because you're in a position so long? Sometimes I am. Yeah, and there it goes. 704, 705. It looks like it's still selling off. I'm human, right? I get upset a lot of times with the different positions that I take, but at the end of the day, like how I feel or my reaction, again, it comes down to self-control. This is all out of my control. I'm trading based off of what I see. And if I begin to trade based off of what I desire, then that's where the mistakes are going to happen. Does that make sense? I don't care. No one cares how much I want something to go up, how much I want something to go down. No one cares where I think something should reverse. No one cares where I think that there should be a resistance. And I can hope and I can do all these things for something to perform the way that I want it to. But at the end of the day, I am completely irrelevant to the market. So my hopes and my desires are worthless when it comes down to, if that's what I'm going to trade off of. What's important is for me to see a pattern, for me to trade off of it, and at any indication of a support or resistance that I take action based off of that, because that is what is actually happening, not what I hope happens, right? And it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's real, right? It doesn't matter how much you want something to go up. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, no one cares. The market doesn't care. And, I care, right? I'd be like, yeah, I want it to go up for you too. But we can hold each other's hand and we can hope that it goes up. But it doesn't matter. It's let your actions speak louder than your words, right? Yeah. Yep. I know I'm sorry that today, I've been live for about 45 minutes, right? And at least you guys caught a trade from start to finish, right? But it was a 45-minute live stream for you guys to watch me make $1.60. I thought it was interesting though. I think that it really puts it into perspective that, sometimes you can trade for 30, 45 minutes and not make anything, or you can lose, but then within a very short period of time, you can, within a 10-minute period, you can make $1,000, right? It's again, when that action is happening. So again, it looks like it might be experiencing a resistance now, and we can kind of go from there. So I'm at least happy that I didn't start the day red. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, that's my mentality right now. Guys, it's not even 1 hour after the market opens. Like, who cares, right? Even if I was in the red, I would have managed my risk. I felt like I was ready for that. I set my stop loss, right? And it's about the mindset that I have right now. And it's like, I'm pumped. I'm excited. And I'm waiting to take on my next position if the opportunity presents itself. I'm not going to take it, right? Just because I should. I'm going to only take it if the opportunity presents itself. So on that trade, were you with 100K? I was in with like 90K, but yeah, pretty much. I didn't watch my position size exactly, so I didn't really care to be in fully with 100K. But yeah. I don't have to eat breakfast right now. I have my little protein shake. I got these at Costco. And then my friends were all like, Ricky, you need things with a lot of calories. I just saw the protein thing and I was like, 30 grams of protein, sweet. This can help me start my day. But then it's like low fat. It's like only 160 calories, which is great for people that I think are trying to like consume protein, but like not gain weight. But I'm trying to gain weight, and 160 calories it's kind of doing me dirty, you know? So I need to get some like weight gainer or something like that, or what is it called? Mass gainer. Shoot. Yeah, I'm not really not too good with mass gainer. Sorry. Ask me things about trading and investing, and I'll tell you. Ask me things about mass gainer, weight gainer, all that stuff. Not today. But all right, I'm going to answer just a couple questions and we can close it out. So, hey, Ricky, can I get your thoughts on this? I've started to follow news on stocks. I'm still studying the techniques, but it seems to render great volume and gain. Yeah, that would be viewed as more of like momentum trading, or something that has a catalyst, right, that drives the price up or down for a very short period of time. So it's kind of like almost like a reaction trade. Understanding that it's not going to last forever, but you have to be very good at managing your risk, because if you get in too late, then you can get caught at the very top. But it's a kind of high risk, high reward type of approach. Hi, Ricky. Sometimes I struggle with selling at the top. Again, I would be very selective. So it's not about struggling. It's selling at any indication of a resistance. Right now, I can see that there's a resistance right around 706, right? So it has not broken above that. So that means that the bid, when it's at 706, is at 705. The ask is at 706, but the bid is at 705. So if you're trying to get out, then you get out, and you want to get out, then I'll sell where the bid is at. Does that make sense? Or you can sell with a market price, but you need to be this is how you read the level 2, and you need to be very selective with your entries and your exits. Depending on how aggressive you want to get in or get out, you watch the bid and the ask. This is where people are buying, this is where people are selling, and you make your trade decision based off of that. Thanks, Ricky. Really appreciate that. Of course. How many years did it take to gain consistency? So again, like a lot of you guys know, I started trading that's when I got exposed to the market at a very early age. I wasn't trading full time. I would say after practicing and consistently, when I was consistently like almost breaking even and then actually making money, I'd say about like 3 to 4 years. It took a while, guys. I was pretty much teaching myself. Right? I didn't have all these different things that I'm teaching or expressing, right? The important stuff within the course and within these live streams are something that I've learned from experiences, mistakes, and different concepts that I've practiced. But that's why it took so long. So when people ask, like, what's the purpose of a course? Can you learn without a course? Of course. Anyone can learn anything without structured content. It's just the effectiveness and the efficient structure and how that allows you to not have to search for those missing pieces, for all those to be presented in a structured way. And the overall, we have people within Learn Plan Profit that after 6 months will stop watching my live streams, will stop tuning into the live chat, because they've become self-disciplined. They understand what they're doing, and they understand the concepts enough that they can do this now on themselves. And that's the goal. Yes, I want you guys to tune into the live streams. I love spending time with you guys. But at the end of the day, the goal for me is for each one of you to be self-sufficient, to not have to depend on Like if you guys want to come in and hang out, right, during the live streams, cool. But that you don't have to. That's the goal, right? So it's kind of like driving a car where you permit, right? You have to have someone that is licensed in the car to kind of guide you along the way. But the goal is not to have someone, right, to not have a permit for the rest of your life, to not have to have someone in the passenger seat where you can just take on the road yourself. Yeah, I like that. I had my first ever green week last week. I like that. That's so cool. Congrats, Yusuf. Cooper, I want you to remind yourself that, like, there's on-demand trading, which means that you can trade at any time throughout the day. You just have to turn this on so you can begin to practice everything that you learn. Are 2 days enough to learn how to trade? It just means that you're dedicating less time to it. At the end of the day, you learn at your own pace. You might be a quicker learner than other people. You might be a slower learner than other people. It doesn't matter. It's just like, as long as you go with it consistently, as long as you're learning every single day and you're practicing, one of the most important parts, you're practicing everything that it is that you are learning, I think that's a crucial point, right? Don't be afraid of practice. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Trade to learn, not trade to profit. And once you have the confidence, once you have the experience, right? And once you have the capital, then you can worry about making money. As of right now, as you're just getting started, you're just getting a feel of the market. You're getting your eye for value. You're building your eye for value. And you're just trying to become more well-versed in preparation of you to become a self-sufficient trader. So, no, it's just part of trading with a larger dollar amount. That's why I closed out my position, John, because there was some uncertainty with that trade. If I was trading with $25,000, I would have left that position in there because the risk/reward wouldn't be so aggressive. But when there's potential, like, okay, there could be a change of direction here, that's why I just decided to close it out. So, of course, Cooper, I appreciate you asking. So I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. I know I didn't make the most money, obviously, but I feel like and the different concepts that we talked about, it was real. Something that we all experience when there's a change of direction, there's uncertainty, and it's still not right? So let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy the process. Let's trade to learn, not trade to profit. And if you have any questions, then feel free to just direct message me via the, Learn Plan Profit Discord chat. I was getting a lot of direct messages about the Flipping Wheels 2.0 and asking if there's any special discount for those that are part of Learn Plan Profit. I can give you guys $50 off. You guys are all able to partake in that 30-day challenge, which means that if you have the time to work with the mentors within Flipping Wheels for the next 30 days from when you sign up, and if you don't make the money back that's the whole goal. The whole purpose of the 30-day challenge is for you to have the time to invest in working with the Flipping Wheels group, and we give you 30 days to make your money back that you invested in the course, right? And if you don't, then we'll give you a full refund. So if you think that you're up for the challenge, send me a direct message and I'll send you the discount link, and then we can kind of go from there. But if you know anyone also, feel free to share it with them. But 100%, especially if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, you guys should know Weston, you guys should know Caleb. And if you have about $1,500 to be able to invest in the car market or in the motorcycle market, then I'm just really excited. We're gonna be working. We selected a individual here in the Arizona area that's, I think, 17 years old or 18 years old, with his parents' permission, of course. And we're gonna take his $1,500 and turn it into $2,000. So I hope that you guys are excited for that. So it's gonna be like a little side hustle. I don't really know much about cars. Again, it's if you're up for the challenge, it's not, if you don't have time and all that stuff, then probably not the best thing for you. But if you're up for the challenge, if you have extra time for the next 30 days to be looking for deals, to become more informed about how to find good deals, I think it's, if you don't make your money back, then, if you don't make the $250 back, then we'll give you a full refund. It's that simple. Or if you don't feel like you gained the value, then it's that simple. So I bought Flipping Wheels yesterday. Yeah. And feel free to check out, there's a review. It's called Flipping Wheels Honest Review. She's part of Learn, Plan, Profit, and she's part of Flipping Wheels. She's actually in the works right now. Her name is Acacia Hunt, of opening her own car dealership. It's freaking crazy because like we're just about to open one, and to see someone do so well within such a short period of time and then just take initiative and opening up a dealership is crazy. So can I apply if I'm in another country? Yusuf, message Weston first. I don't know about that because yes, we can still help you like how to identify good deals, but we're all within the United States and we don't know all the laws outside of the United States, if that makes sense. So just message us and we'll try to see if we can work something out. And if not, and if we don't think that the Flipping Wheels group will be a good fit for you, we'll still try to work with you and help you if you're still interested in finding good deals. So yeah, I appreciate your guys' time. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.